What if we told you there's a baseball player who has a record-breaking achievement as the first ever to hit 40 home runs and steal 40 bases in a single season? Not to mention winning the World Series twice. Yet, his name brings about awe and shame to baseball. His name is Jose Canseco, and this man has his whole career built upon scandals and cheating. Watch on as we uncover how this legend fell from grace to grass. Born in the vibrant city of Havana, Cuba, in 1964, Jose Canseco's family moved to Miami, Florida when he was just a baby. He grew up in a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood, and there, Canseco started nurturing his big dreams. However, he soon realized that life wasn't going to be a bed of roses, and despite his love for Miami, as a young boy, he faced discrimination and bullying from other kids who made fun of his heritage and name. But Canseco never let the negativity dampen his spirits. In fact, he found solace and inspiration in an unexpected place: baseball. Introduced to the game by his father, a former amateur baseball player in Cuba, Canseco would attend local Little League games with wide-eyed wonder, mesmerized by the players, their skills, and the excitement of the game. He eventually joined Little League Baseball and proved to be a natural, catching the attention of coaches and scouts despite his small stature. With his mighty swing, lightning-quick reflexes, and impeccable eye for the ball, Jose stood out from the rest of the players. As he grew older, Canseco's passion for baseball only grew stronger. He would spend countless hours practicing and perfecting his technique. He was determined to become a professional athlete, and nothing would stand in his way. During his high school days at Coral Park, Canseco was already a powerhouse, excelling in both baseball and football. His talent was undeniable, and it was evident that he was on his way to becoming a legend in the world of sports. It's no wonder that he was eventually signed to the Oakland Athletics in 1982. Starting in the minor leagues, Canseco quickly rose through the ranks thanks to his impressive performance at the plate and outfield, and in 1985, he made his Major League Baseball debut. Shortly after, Canseco quickly made a name for himself and his team, hitting 33 home runs, driving in 117 runs, stealing 15 bases, and winning the title of American League's Rookie of the Year. And that was just the beginning. But sadly, Canseco's journey to success wasn't without its challenges. When he was just a child, he was diagnosed with a pituitary gland problem that caused a deficiency in human growth hormone. This made him much smaller than his peers, and because of his size, he was bullied and ridiculed by other kids. As a teenager, he underwent surgery to remove a tumor from his pituitary gland, improving his health and allowing him to grow to a normal size. But Canseco didn't let his health challenges hold him back, as he would go on to become a dominant hitter with an impressive home run record and a baller on the baseball diamond. And when it came to base running, he had terrific speed and agility. But that's not all. He was also an exceptional player on the field, able to catch even the most difficult balls. But more than being a valuable player to his team, he was a true record breaker, becoming the first player in baseball history to hit 40 home runs and steal 40 bases in a single season. But Canseco was more than just a star athlete. He was also a dedicated philanthropist who gave back to the community in many ways. Canseco supported various charities, including the Big Brothers Big Sisters program and the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He even used his fame to raise awareness and support various causes. His charisma and outgoing personality made him a fan favorite, and he always had time for his supporters, signing autographs and taking photos. But as the fame came, so did controversies, and Canseco's name became synonymous with the dark side of baseball. From dugout scuffles with teammate Dave Parker to a run-in with umpire Terry Cooney, which resulted in a suspension, to several other controversies, Canseco had his name synonymous with controversies. First, he was involved in a steroid scandal that rocked the sport. But before we dive deeper into that, let's rewind the tape and take a closer look at Canseco's scandalous past before the steroid scandal. In 1989, he was arrested for reckless driving, paying a fine of $500. That same year, he was arrested for carrying a loaded gun. As if that wasn't enough, he was arrested in 1992 for aggravated battery after ramming his car into his then-wife's car, Esther, after a disagreement. Fast forward to 1997, he was arrested again for domestic violence against his new then-wife, Jessica Canseco, and he pleaded no contest to the charges. And in 2001, He and his brother, Ozzy, got into a fight at a Miami Beach club, leaving one of the men with a broken nose and needing a total lip makeover. But the real hit to his legacy was the steroid scandal that forever tarnished his reputation. And this started back in the early 90s, when he was the talk of the town for his impressive home runs and lightning-fast speed. But amidst all the cheers and applause, there were whispers that the success might not be entirely natural. Despite the growing rumors, Canseco refused to let anyone bring him down. He confidently dismissed the allegations with his signature bravado, insisting that his achievements resulted from his hard work and natural talent. But as time passed, it became increasingly difficult to ignore the mounting evidence that suggested otherwise. Canseco's flawless physique was the first red flag. It seemed impossible that someone could achieve such perfection without the aid of performance-enhancing drugs. But it was one particular incident in 1988 that really set tongues wagging. Canseco suffered a wrist injury that should have put him out on the sidelines for a while. Yet, when he returned to the field, he was hitting home runs like he had superpowers. Of course, people started to suspect something fishy was going on, but Canseco wasn't one to back down. Despite the mounting pressure from rumors and accusations, he continued to play with all the intensity and skill that had made him famous. But as time went on, Canseco's reputation took a beating. He was booed by fans, ridiculed by opposing players, and even shunned by his teammates. It seemed like everyone had turned against him. Now, Canseco never admitted to any wrongdoing, even though the evidence seemed to be convincing. He claimed he was the victim of a witch hunt and that he had nothing to hide. But as the injuries piled up and his performance began to suffer, he knew it was time to call it quits. And in 2002, he retired, leaving the sport with a reputation tainted with cheating allegations, even though unproved at the time. However, in 2005, Canseco dropped a bombshell on everybody when he published his tell-all book, Juiced: Wild Times, Rampant Roids, Smash Hits, and How Baseball Got Big. In it, he made the shocking admission that he had used steroids throughout his career. Canseco's admission was a seismic event in the world of sports. Fans were outraged, players were dismayed, and the entire sport was thrown into disarray, and he was barred from baseball. But for Canseco, it was a chance to finally come clean and tell his side of the story. He didn't shy away from the criticism, instead embracing his role as the game's villain. And despite the backlash, Canseco refused to apologize for his actions. He believed that using steroids was necessary to compete at the game's highest levels, and that he was simply doing what he needed to do to win. But in the years that followed, Canseco tried his best to rebuild his reputation, but the shadow of the steroid use continued to loom over him. It's a shame that his legacy will always be somewhat tarnished by his dishonesty. But hey, let's not forget that Jose Canseco's accomplishments on the field were legendary too, and he was even a pioneer for Latino players. Although, it's hard to deny the damage he inflicted on the baseball world with his steroid use. But it seems like he's been trying to redeem himself though. He has been on a crusade against steroid use in baseball, vocally criticizing it and even advocating for drug testing and strict punishments for players caught using performance-enhancing drugs. Sadly, no matter how hard he tries, his legacy will always be remembered as a complicated one. A superstar athlete who achieved incredible success on the baseball diamond and one of the biggest villains in baseball history. That's all for today about the biggest villain in baseball history. Until we come your way again, keep aiming for the fences. Goodbye.